If you haven't already heard, Boss Bottled Absolu is super, super amazing. One of the best designer fragrances that have launched within the last couple of years. I posted a short video on this about a month ago, and circling back to it, I still can't believe how great it is. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about Boss Bottled Absolu, as I haven't done a official review on the fragrance. I'm also going to compare it to last year's release, Boss Bottled ELIXIR. And then earlier this year, there was another Boss Bottled flanker. It's Boss Bottled Triumph ELIXIR. So I'm going to compare all of the three fragrances and then first review the Absolu, which is the best in the series. So find out about these three fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Sebastian. I'm talking to you about the latest Boss Bottled flanker from the house of Hugo Boss. I can't believe how great this is, guys. If you haven't gotten your nose on this, please do. It's a super fantastic men's designer fragrance on the masculine side. But what's different about this compared to last year's ELIXIR? There's Patchouli and Davana here, which makes the fragrance super sexy. Yes, that's what's the difference between the two fragrances. All three of the fragrances I'm talking about today, they have either ELIXIR or Absolu in the title, but they're all Parfum Intense concentrations. So when they call fragrances Parfum Intense concentration, just imagine they are pretty intense creations, more intense than other designer fragrances, but these still do not match some of the extra fragrances that I experience in the niche world. There are fragrances out there from the niche world that are 40-45% concentration. These are intense for designer fragrances, but they will never live up to those kind of intensities with those niche fragrances. And I'm going to compare it to Followed again. Followed is one of the strongest fragrances. It's a room filler, and it fills a room up, and it won't disappear. The smell won't disappear for days. So these fragrances are not that, but they're still very, very potent fragrances for designer fragrances. So all three of the fragrances, including the latest Absolu, Boss Bottled Absolu, which just launched a month or so ago, are created by Annick Menardo and Suzy. So it's funny though, also, the Parfum edition of Boss Bottled came out 2 years ago, which was a complete disappointment. I hated it. I thought it smelled like every other designer fragrance. But once they launched the ELIXIR, I felt like, yes, they've got a great fragrance. Here, it's actually really great. It's not smelling like every other men's designer fragrance. But now that the Absolu is out, it's super fantastic. So the notes break down for Boss Bottled Absolu: incense, leather, patchouli, myrrh, Davana, cedar. These are the notes that are featured in here. But for me, what makes it stand out from the rest of the collection, even the Triumph ELIXIR has patchouli. For me, the Absolu is just on another level. It's just an amazing smell. It's brightened up by the Davana, which to me is a bit spicy, boozy, green. That effect against the patchouli, the earthiness, the woodiness, the sexiness. And then of course you've got amber here, because the fragrance settles to an amber. Eventually also woods, lots of woods, and along the way you've got some smokiness and some leathery accords that are coming in as well. But it wears like not a fragrance that the designer world releases. It wears more like something you would find in the niche world. I'm not saying it's extremely out there with the niche stylings, but if the designers can make fragrances like this, what they've done here, even the ELIXIR, even though I prefer the Absolu, even the ELIXIR, I think most people will not even want to venture out into the niche world and go to the next level of fragrances, because these are really, really quality offerings here. Very original for men's designer fragrances. And with the Absolu, again, as I said, they take it to the next level. So it is a fantastic offering. I think I don't know what the status of the availability of this fragrance is. Is it selling at Macy's yet? I haven't really experienced it. Maybe they're doing a launch later on in the year, but I found it on the Hugo Boss website. I didn't see it on the Macy's website. But as soon as it arrives at Macy's, you can go in and smell, and decide on your own and experience how great it is. Because for me, it's, again, one of the best men's designer fragrances within the last 5 years. And for me, it's all about the smell. It's that really sexy patchouli Davana combo. It's top notch. Now, the reason why I like these two notes, if you haven't noticed and you've gotten your nose on Juicebox's 54, the fragrance collaboration I did with Juicebox, that fragrance features lots of patchouli, and it also features Davana. It's a great note. It brightens things up, makes it a bit boozy. The 54 has the pina colada and the rum as well, but it just intensifies the booziness. Here, I don't experience it full-on boozy, but you really experience the brightness, the greenness, the spiciness against the patchouli. I think they're working really wonderfully together, and it amplifies a bit of a green effect in the fragrance. But where's super amazing, really, really, really amazing. For me, one of the best designer fragrances that has come out within the last couple of years, as I said. Truly an original smell, and I hope you guys get to experience it. I mean, here's a brand that is not known as one of the, the gods of designer world. It's not Chanel, it's not Dior, which those two designers are what people bow at all the time. It's a Chanel, it's a Dior. They're not releasing quality fragrances like this. I mean, Super Leggera, I thought it was a nice wear until it turned into a seawater experience on my skin. I mean, they're not offering us quality fragrances. And we've got a brand here, Hugo Boss from Germany, which is under Coty. Coty distributes these fragrances, and they've given us something really amazing. And the perfumers behind this fragrance, the series, the 3 of them. The Parfum, as I said, was not a favorite. It was a disappointment, and I thought they were ending the series with something that was a dud. At least for me it was. Maybe you like that fragrance, I don't know. But the fragrance was started by Annick Menardo. I've been a fan of it since the late 90s. And even though these 3 fragrances smell nothing like the original Boss Bottled, because where's the cinnamon, where's the apple note that's in here, where's the warm, spicy, vanillic touches? Yeah, we have traces of things like that coming in here, but it's nothing like that. So I was disappointed with the Parfum. Then the ELIXIR launched. It was really, really great. The Triumph was pretty good. I liked it. But now we've got an amazing winner here, Absolu. The fragrance also has great longevity, but then again, we're going back to the idea of those really potent extrait de parfum releases from the niche world. It never acts like those. The thing with it is the longevity. They have great legs. They stick on you for a really nice long, wear. But they're never going to act like they're just massive cloud, massive projection. It's never going to act like that. You'll experience it. Like, take this, wear it, take the Boss Bottled Absolu, wear it, spritz it on one side, and then spritz on followed. Or something like that. Something from maybe Lorenzo Pizzaglia, any of these brands that have these 35, 40% concentration. They're going to be totally different experiences. But for the designer world, I think what they've given us is really, really amazing. Now, going to the ELIXIR. The ELIXIR has notes of patchouli, labdanum, cedarwood, cardamom, frankincense, and vetiver. But in the ELIXIR, I'm not experiencing the patchouli the way I am in the Absolu. For me, in the Absolu, the patchouli and the Davana are the stars. They are the focus notes. But for me, in the ELIXIR, it's more about the labdanum, the spices, and the woods, and a little bit of the smokiness coming in from the frankincense. I feel like the patchouli takes a backseat. For me, I don't experience it much. It's not the star. It's not the focus note. But still, it was a really, really great offering. Such an improvement upon the Parfum concentration. But for me, it's next level with the Absolu. When they gave us something super sophisticated here with the ELIXIR, they've given us something even better with the Absolu. Now, lastly, with the Triumph ELIXIR, and I feel like the Triumph ELIXIR is a limited edition. I'm not sure how they're doing the marketing and the releases of these fragrances, because the original ELIXIR came out a year ago. Then earlier this year, they launched the Triumph ELIXIR. So they're cranking them out now. They're not even like yearly releases. Is there going to be a Triumph Absolu after the Absolu? I don't know. But what's the difference between the notes here? First off, also, all three, as I said, were created by Annick Menardo and Suzy Helley. Big fan of Annick Menardo. If you haven't noticed, I've always enjoyed her fragrances, and I can't believe she's still releasing fragrances here for Boss Bottled, which she did the original. But the Triumph Elixir has patchouli once again. It has violet leaves and also vetiver. And I thought going into this fragrance, I was going to enjoy it a lot more than the original Elixir, original Boss Bottled Elixir. It's kind of a toss-up. So it's ozonic here with the violet leaves, still earthy. It just doesn't have that sexiness that the Absolu does. And I don't know if it's the combination of the Absolu's patchouli and Davana together. It's that magic ingredient that creates the sparks that I like when I smell it, like the sense sparks, the smell sparks, because it sets off sparks when I smell the Boss Bottled Absolu. It doesn't with the Triumph Elixir, unfortunately. But I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance. It's a little different than the original Elixir. The violet leaves does provide that kind of watery ozonic touches, but there's still ambery touches under there. There's a grassy effect, a warm effect. There's spiciness for sure that comes in. But definitely you'll experience the ozonic touches from the violet leaves. And if you don't know much about ozonic notes, I do have some videos on the channel on ozonic notes, ozonic fragrances, violet leaves and things like that. But between the three, as I said, for me, it's all about the Absolu. It's the latest fragrance. It's the most expensive, unfortunately. With the Absolu, it's $150 for 100 ml. And with the Elixir, it's $140 for 100 ml. With the Triumph Elixir, it's $130 for 100 ml. But all three of them are the same concentration, even though they have different name. On the bottles, it says Parfum Intense. Don't get the concentration off of the Boss website. It's completely confusing. Whereas the Triumph Elixir says Parfum Intense on the box. On their website, it says Eau de Toilette. I'm confused. And with the bottled Elixir, it says Eau de Parfum when it says Parfum Intense on it. So it's a bit confusing with how they have written out their descriptions. Don't follow those. Follow the bottles. And also, lastly, out of the three, for me, the most performing one is the Absolu. I don't know what it is about it that I just really does it for me. And also because maybe I'm really sensitive to patchouli and also the Davana note combined together. Maybe that's what kind of keeps it going for me. And my nose's sensitivity makes it smell it off my skin even longer and longer compared to the others. That it could be something like this. What you're sensitive to the most lingers on the most. It's happening to me. And I'm most sensitive to patchouli. I get that note, like I can pick it up off of people. If they have it on, I can totally smell it. And my nose just wakes up, and it wakes up my senses, and it, just kind of triggers the smell excitement because it's a note that I really enjoy and I love, and smelling it off of people, it just really excites me. And for me, I think so far in the designer world, the best release for designers for men is this one here, Absolu, the Boss Bottled Absolu. So I thought that they were going to end the series of Boss Bottled fragrances with the Elixir when it came out a little over a year ago. But of course, they've already brought out the Triumph Elixir, and now we've got the Boss Bottled Absolu. But you know what? I love this so much, I don't want them to stop now. We shall see what they do, what they release. But I don't know. They'll never retire this series because I feel like they're cranking them out over and over again. But again, hopefully you guys will get a chance to sample these fragrances. If you have the original Elixir and then also the Triumph Elixir, let me know. And also, have you sampled the Absolu yet? What are you thinking? Are you curious to get your nose on it? Do let me know. Put a comment down below. And that's all I have for you today in this video, comparing Boss Bottled Absolu to Boss Bottled Elixir. Do you think they're going to come out with more flankers here? I think they will, right? I mean, they did a great job with this, so they have to continue now. Oh, one more thing I should say. The bottle is just super sexy, I think. This is a very iconic bottle. Just thinking, the first time I had a bottle, the original, a friend had brought it back to me from Germany. They weren't even selling it here yet. And I smelled it more and I'm like, wow, warm and spicy and fruity all together. But it's a really, really iconic bottle. I really love this bottle. And here they've done a great job, and the effect of the gradient right here is really awesome. And then you've got this really nice graphic with the logo of Boss on top. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.